Chimiwech, Kitchinenda Makana, Kibi Jayanoma Nungum. Thank you, Elder, for Elder Sally for opening us up in a good way. And I'm gonna get your name right.
Gaikeshionge.
Gaikeshionge. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here and for starting us off in a good way and reminding us that Creator is always ahead of our days. I just want to say that for those of you that don't know me, I'm National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Nepinak, and I'm here representing the Assembly of First Nations. I'm honored to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. So thank you so very much for welcoming us to your territory. I want to welcome Regional Chief Benedict, Regional Chief Abram, our elder, of course, our representative plaintiff. I'm so sorry for everything that you've been through throughout all of this. I know there's been challenges over and over again, and I lift you up and all the people across this country that have went through the child welfare system up. And my heart is always with our people that are in care. And I always remember the hardships that many of you face, and that we can't give you back your childhood, but we could try our best to make sure that the wrongs that have happened to every family in this country are acknowledged. So I thank you, Melissa. And I know it's always emotional every time we see each other, but you're doing good work and you're standing up for so many. And so I want to thank you for that. I just want to say that we are here today to share an important milestone for First Nations child and family affected by Canada's discriminatory practices within the First Nations Child and Family Services Program and Jordan's Principle. As we announced earlier this year, the claims process opened for the first 2 classes in the settlement on March 10th of 2025, and for the removed child and family classes. And we are here today to report that as of this week, and we've been pushing every single day, we've been pushing at Deloitte, we've been pushing at everybody to make sure that this gets done in a timely fashion. As National Chief, I don't want to see something that drags on for years and years. And I think that many of these families and these children have been through so much already, and they don't need to have further harm done to them. And so we are pleased today to report that compensation will now begin today, and they will begin to reach eligible claimants in the removed child class. And so we just wanted to report that today. I know that's a big announcement. It's been a long time coming. This is a tremendous milestone after years of fighting on the recognition of the harms done through Canada's discrimination to our people. This milestone would not have been possible without the strength and the public service of the representative plaintiffs who have fought so hard for so many people that have experienced so many challenges on the road to this day. And of course, the Assembly of First Nations greatly appreciates the commitment and advocacy of our partners across the country in this legal battle, including the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society of Canada. We also thank many other people who have worked hard in achieving this result. This includes chiefs from coast to coast to coast. Our leadership, we lift you up in a good way, chiefs, for making sure that your people's voices are heard, for making sure that compensation gets to your people, chiefs. And we just want to say that to the First Nations communities as well. To the Assembly of First Nations, our staff, I know we've been working hard on this every single day, pushing this to make sure that this day comes where payments start to flow. To our external legal counsel, of course, our professional advisors, countless members of First Nations people across this country who have helped get to this point. And we also want to lift up and thank Canadians from many backgrounds who have supported our cause. It's not always easy. It's not easy to negotiate a $23 billion settlement, and there's lots of pushback and lots of politics. But I just thank Canadians who stood with us to say children, these children that have been through this and families have been wronged, and that we have to find a way forward. There's been over 40,000 claims that have now been received, a significant number and a promising start. However, we know there are many more eligible claimants who have yet to submit an application, and we encourage you to do so. Even if you think we encourage those who may be eligible for compensation, of course, to reach out for any help that you may need to submit an application through the administrator's website at firstnationchildclaims.ca. Those who may be eligible include First Nations individuals who were removed from their homes as children between April 1st of 1991 and March 31st of 2022, and placed into care that were funded by Indigenous Services Canada, also known as Indian Affairs. I know they don't like it when I call them that, but they were Indian Affairs, and then they were INAC and all these other names. But if they had funded you, you are eligible. As well as, of course, their caregiving parents and caregiving grandparents. And I'm hearing that parents and grandparents are also kind of reluctant to apply, but if any of your grandchildren were in care, apply anyways. And so I just have to say that today. The removed child class and the removed child family class represents 2 of 9 different classes under the settlement. The claims period for the remaining 7 classes, including the Jordan's Principle, the Trout, and the Kith classes, will open in phases at a later date, as each of those classes requires a separate claims process that must be approved by the federal court and a judge. So we're just waiting for that. I know it's taking a little bit of time, but it is coming. Those other classes are coming. And we are working hard to ensure that the distribution protocols, which set out the claims process for those additional classes, are approved as soon as possible, so compensation can reach the remaining 7 classes. We know that survivors of Canada's discrimination have been waiting years for the acknowledgement of the harm that they experienced by a broken system. And our priority is ensuring that the process continues as effectively and efficiently as possible without causing additional harm to families. So we want to thank everyone who took part in this long process of negotiations that brought us here to this point. And on behalf of the Assembly of First Nations, we want to especially, and we want to individually, thank our representative plaintiffs, Karen Osachoff, Melissa Walterson, Ashley Bach, Noah Buffalo Jackson, Carolyn Buffalo, Richard Jackson, Xavier Mashum, Jeremy Mawasaki, Jonathan Mawasaki, and Zach Trout. We thank you, each and every one of you. We lift you up for stepping forward for First Nations families, for First Nations children, and the discrimination that they face in the child welfare system. All of you have shown incredible strength throughout and standing up on behalf of our people to ensure that the voices that maybe cannot speak for themselves, for those that have not yet been heard, that you're standing for us. And so I also want to take a moment to acknowledge those that endured discrimination and are not with us today, to see this moment. Their experience and their sacrifice are acknowledged, and it is with sorrow in my heart and the love for their families that we lift up their spirits and tell them that their lives mattered. So we think about that because there's so many of them. And I want to thank them, of course, for their courage, for their fight and their heartfelt recognition and their perseverance and their deep respect for the journey for all those impacted by Canada's discrimination, not by ourselves, but by Canada, which has brought us to this moment. Today, compensation is closer than ever before. While no amount of money can ever make up for the harms done to you or give you back your childhood, this compensation is an important acknowledgement that Canada's discrimination is unacceptable, which we hope will provide some measure of healing to those that are affected. In conclusion, I just want to say, Chimmy Gwetch, thank you so very much for listening in today. And I know that it's been a tough 5 months, 6 months, but I know I see some of the staff here and we've pushed very hard at you, but it's because our people have waited for far too long. And they deserve to be recognized for what they had went through. And it's time that their families can start to begin to heal, and that the next generation of children, that these families become stronger after what they've been through this horrific system. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, National Chief. Our next speaker on the list will be Ontario Regional Chief Abram Benedict.
Sego, I'd like to give a lot of those greetings. Good morning to all of you. Good show and go to Elder Sally for setting the tone this morning and opening us up in a good way. It's always so good to see Sally here in Toronto. Many may not know, but she's recently retired from our office in Chiefs, Ontario after many years. So I'm so happy to see her here today, but also to bring her blessings and acknowledge everybody joining me here today, our National Chief, Grand Chief Abram, as well as our plaintiff, Melissa. Thank you so much to you and all the other families that have gone through so much to get us to where we are here today. As National Chief has articulated, today is a milestone, a marker in a long, very long journey, a journey that so many have shared hardship in. I know that there's been lots of processes ongoing in so many ways. But today is this historic agreement. It's one phase, as the National Chief has articulated, and about bringing about some closure. While it is about holding government accountable, bringing compensation for the wrongdoings that they have done, the discriminatory practices that they continue to have done to our people, it's also about healing, about giving the ability for our families to ensure that they have the supports that they need to heal those discriminatory colonial practices that the government has done to our people. Well, we've heard the claim process is now open. We've had 40,000 in a short period of time, but we know there's so many more. There's so many more out there that are thinking about it, so many more that are scared to come forward. We want to assure them that the supports are there and that this is the right thing to do. It is something that is available to them for what has happened to them. And I know that this has been a long road. Many have been reading about it. Many here at this table and others have joined us at various times as we've gone through this process. The court process, mediation, the acceptance. There's more to come. And us at the Chiefs of Ontario have been working hard to ensure that we're supporting our members in this way, in this region, and walking alongside the plaintiffs, and ensuring that every step of the way they feel supported. I know it's been trying. Lots of moments that have tested our abilities, have tested theirs, but their determination, we lift each and every one of them up. Our plaintiff families, their friends, their supporters, those who've stood by their side as this process has continued to unfold. But this settlement is not an end. There's a lot more work to do. It sets a foundation for us in going forward. And as we know, there continues to be work on the long-term reform. The long-term reform to the systems that have broken our families, have created so much trauma to our families and our children. And so every day we're working hard at the Chiefs of Ontario, to our national office as well, to ensure we're doing our part to hold government accountable and bring about reform, wholesome reform, to a system that has been around for over 100 years, to a system that is broken, that doesn't understand our people, nor do they care to. And so wholesome reform is about empowering community leadership. It's about working together to ensure families don't become in compromising positions, and the colonial systems do not continue to be there to bring about hardship and more pain. And so while in Ontario we have a final draft agreement, we're continuing to work hard to move towards final ratification, because we know that our community leadership is mandating us to do that, but also that wholesome reform requires all parties at the table, all government, community, leadership, our youth, our elders, and those who have gone through the systems to help us support wholesome reform. And that is our goal as we move forward, to ensure that our families, our children, do not have to experience the same thing that many have before us, and that these systems are adaptive, built in our customs, our tradition, our language, to ensure that our children have the most supports needed, even in those difficult times. And while we continue to work with our partners, I want to say that the timing And as we continue to build these systems, it's no important time now than ever to ensure we're doing everything we can to support our families. And the work that we do as leadership, but also as an organization, as a national advocacy body, so that our plaintiff families and those who have gone through those experiences will never have to deal with that again. And so while $23 billion is compensation and recognizes that, there's a lot more work to do. And so again, I say miigwech go to all of you for joining us today. Again, to our elder for setting the tone, to our plaintiff families for always being there. You know, there have been times where they've thought of throwing the towel in. It's a leadership and a national chief, our executive and our regional office that continue to be there to support them, to make sure that we're doing our part as political leaders to support those who are in need, and ensure that this doesn't happen again and hold government accountable. So now I'll go and to all of you and turn it back.
Thank you, Regional Chief. Our next speaker will be Grand Chief Joel Abrams.
Sorry. Sagali sagweg, dawaz lagit niyong gets. Otayuni ni bagatalodo kalata onye da aga ni makahonjoda. Greetings in my Oneida language. My Oneida name is Dawaz Lagit. It's axe with two blades, and from Wolf Clan from Oneida Nation of the Thames. Currently Grand Chief at the Association of Iroquois Allied Indians, and currently hold a social services portfolio at the Chiefs of Ontario. I'd like to thank Elder Sally for the opening, and also thank National Chief for the opportunity to come in and address everyone to speak about this historic settlement that's going to be happening today. Again, the checks are going to be going out and the money's going to begin to flow. That was approved last year. However, joyous this is, we also have to realize that the Federal First Nation Child and Family Services Program, in Jordan's principle, really failed our communities. And they're still continuing to do that, leading to children being unjustly removed from their homes, denied access to essential services, and severed their ties to family and culture. And so that's really a painful truth. They weren't isolated incidents. They were systemic, and their impacts continue to reverberate through generations. And it's really as a result of unfettered colonialism, as we can see through other things like the Indian Act and residential schools, and we can go on, broken treaties. So the historic $23 billion settlement that we're here to talk about is a result of decades of advocacy, but at the end of the day, it had to be legal action to hold Canada accountable. It'd be good if they did the right thing on their own without that, but sometimes this compensation is not just about the financial payment, it's an acknowledgement of the deep injustice that our people have endured. Deloitte, thank you for being here as well as a claims administrator. They have partnered with First Nations navigators and community liaisons to ensure the process is culturally safe, trauma-informed, and accessible, including mental health supports for those who need them. That's going to be very important moving ahead for those people with claims. And so these navigators and liaison, as National Chief mentioned, can provide one-on-one help with completing and submitting claims, gathering documentation, responding to missing information requests, and even navigating appeals when necessary. And for those who need higher levels of support, navigators can connect claimants to service coordinators and circle of care teams, which includes cultural wellness workers, harm reduction workers, and healthcare access coordinators, ensuring access to broader wellness and community resources while claimants move through this process. And while this settlement addresses past harm, it must also drive us toward preventing discrimination from reoccurring again and again. That's why at the Chiefs of Ontario, we're working with First Nations leadership to advance, as the Regional Chief mentioned, the Ontario Final Agreement. And this agreement will transfer authority over child family services from the federal government to First Nations and give them the capacity and resources to do so. It'll secure stable, flexible funding and allow communities to design services rooted in their own cultures, values, and laws. So we are committed to building systems where every First Nations child can grow up safe, surrounded by family, and connected to their language, culture, and identity. And so this is about replacing a system that caused harm with one that protects and strengthens our nations for generations to come. And our work ensures that this moment becomes more than a settlement, it becomes a turning point toward a future where our children are never again forced to fight for the care, dignity, and justice that they deserve. So the Chiefs of Ontario, we will continue to stand with the AFN, with claimants, with communities, and leadership until that future is secure. So while this is good news, addressing some of the harms of the past, we must also look to the future. Thank you. John, go.
Thank you, Grand Chief. So our final speaker will be Plaintiff Melissa Wolf.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me here today for this important press conference. My name is Melissa Walterson. Thank you, Elder, for the opening remarks. Appreciate your prayers. And I just wanted to introduce myself for anybody who doesn't know me. My name is Melissa Walterson. I represent the family class of the removed children. And I've been working on this claim for probably about 6 years now. And I'm speaking on behalf of my representative claimants as well. This is not a day of celebration. This is a day for the government to finally, do something right when it comes to reconciliation. I know from my personal experience, I am from Nissachawasi and Pasqua First Nation, and it's been trying for me. I was adopted at birth, and I had some good times in my life and some hard times, and I am thankful to National Chief Woodhouse for all the work that she has done through this process, and not only her, but the previous National Chief before her and the previous National Chief before has put in many, many, many years of hard work and dedication to get to this point. And like I said before, it's not a day of celebration. Thank you to the previous Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, for actually helping us get to this point. If it wasn't for the work that National Chief Woodhouse did with the Prime Minister, maybe we might still be working at this. But I just want to acknowledge all of the removed children, forcefully removed children, and their families, and all of the harms that Canada did to our people. It's I'm hoping that this day will bring some some help with their lives. I don't know, I struggle with compensation because it should never have been done. We should never have had to come to this day. It should have never happened to our people. And anyway, that's all that I have to say for now. I appreciate everybody who has worked hard for this day, and the continued work that we need to do for the years to come for all of the other classes that come after this. Thank you very much.